Hey besties, how are you guys doing? It's Ro and I'm back with another video for you guys. Obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail, you already know what this video is about, but today we're going to be discussing which video game has the best possible chance of survivability. Obviously, I saw this conversation on TikTok maybe about a month ago, and of course, I'm very late to the discourse, but I do want to put my 2 cents in. Obviously, Bendy and FNAF have been a part of my teenagehood. Is that a word? They have been a part of my teenagehood, and I really enjoyed these video games. Even though I did watch Corey Kenshin play Bendy, and yes, he didn't finish the game, so I never really knew the ending until like 2 days ago when I decided to make this video. Regardless though, these games have been very interesting and a big part of my life. Also, with Poppy Playtime taking over as one of my hyper fixations at the moment, I thought, why not make a YouTube video about it? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to try to be more logical when I go this route of criticizing these games, and I'm going to pull stuff from the video games itself, because I know FNAF has like way too many pieces of media to actually go through, so I'm just going to go keep it simple for the sake of the video, and I'll probably just reference like the first couple games. With that being said, let's get right into the video. To kick things off, I'm going to address Poppy Playtime first, because you guessed it, with logic and even my bias, I do think that this game has the lowest chance to survive. If we compare just the size alone of this factory, I mean, this thing is massive. Our character doesn't even get to explore through the whole place because there's so many locked doors, blocked passageways, and just areas that aren't accessible due to the story trying to keep you on the right path. But I mean, this place can fit a whole ass train inside of it. They have a train inside of their factory, a train that can transport you to different areas of the factory. They have a train, and I ain't talking about Thomas. This factory has hundreds of passageways, deeming it very unsafe and easy to get lost in. Now, Bendy does have a pretty big place. However, on the scale of Poppy Playtime, it just doesn't compare at all. And same thing with Five Nights at Freddy's. There's just no comparison. Now, people try to include Security Breach.
Vanessa, I'm a material girl.
And it doesn't have a bigger radius than Poppy Playtime. However, I feel like Security Breach is just a different game in general. Like, it doesn't have the same stories as the children haunting animatronics, and it has a different vibe because with the Pizzaplex and, you know, you're a kid and you're literally just trying not to get you see how I'm like doing loops regardless, right? For the sake of the video and what the TikTok video stated, it's as a worker. Survivability as a worker. So in that sense, I'm just going to be really using the games where you're like actually working for the company. We can observe just from the size alone that Poppy Playtime has got to be one of the worst case scenarios. I forgot to say, they even have an orphanage stuffed in there.
Simply not possible.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Like, you're basically getting lost in the back rooms, and instead of being completely alone, you have different things trying to chase you and kill you. Speaking of chasing, another factor that comes into play while analyzing Poppy Playtime are the antagonists. This game contains an array of crazy, saddening, and overall absorbing characters you have to come across. Many of the characters have complete consciousness, and right now I can hear you through the screen, but for now I have consciousness, but Bendy has consciousness. I hear you, I get it, right? But first off, for FNAF, we don't ever get to really talk to the children and their souls and stuff, right? And in Bendy, the ones that are conscious really don't attack you, besides probably like evil Alice Angel and Sammy Lawrence. But then again, like, those aren't your main threats compared to Bendy. The animatronics know that their target is going to be the night guards because they think the guards are who killed them, right? And, you know, they're seeking revenge. On the other hand, while researching Bendy, it's clear he does have some sort of awareness. However, as stated by Joey Drew, if you claim your failures are because these things are soulless, then damn it, we'll get him a soul. This leads me to believe that Bendy is more on the level of an animal compared to someone like Mommy Longlegs or Catnap. Based on the details in the game, Bendy is more like Yarnaby or Huggy Wuggy. So when we compare these characters towards Poppy Playtime just, you have these characters that are literally conscious, like talking to you, talking back to you, having one-on-ones, telling you why they're doing this, telling you why they're upset, telling you why they want their revenge, and it's like, now I have to kill you? Like, that's brutal. Poppy Playtime actually contains both of these two character types as antagonists. You have the conscious experiments like Doughy, Mommy, and Miss Delight, and then you have the experiments that act with instinct like animals, such as Huggy Wuggy, Pianosaurus, and Yarnaby, just to name a few. So for both of these video games, both Poppy Playtime and FNAF, these games insert souls into the picture, giving the characters more depth. Logically, I think anyone can agree it would be harder and more mentally challenging to try to defeat somebody that is conscious, regardless if they're human or not. I agree that all stories contain their fair share of these character types, yet Poppy Playtime just showcases way more of them, and you have to defeat way more, and their backstory and their lore that you get, it's all just so sad. That's why I would give another point to Poppy Playtime. Okay, I swear I'm not trying to glaze Poppy Playtime, but
Yo, chill with the glazing.
my last point is the Hour of Joy. This event is the main contributor as to why I think Poppy Playtime is at the bottom of the survivability list. The Hour of Joy was the rebellion of all the experiments which left the factory in total ruin and chaos. You know it's bad when Poppy even states that it didn't matter who you were or what you did. If you were a worker there, you had to be killed.
Killed everyone. The guilty, the innocent. Didn't matter.
They didn't spare anybody. So if your plan was to come up there and be all nice to everybody, be all nice to experiments and try to break the system and Playtime, they didn't care.
All right, me too, girl.
You were still going to be next on the chopping block. It's even more bone-chilling when you realize that some of the characters you have to fight even acknowledge the fact that you are still alive. And they straight up question it too.
Wait, I recognize you. Yes, I remember. You used to work here. How are you alive?
I don't know if the person we're playing as called out sick, or, you know, maybe they're an intern and they're like, yo, intern, go get me coffee or something. I don't know, but the only reason they are alive is because they were not at the factory. They are the only one to survive, you know, as we know of, because the next chapter comes out in February. So with all the information we have access to at the moment, this worker was the only one to survive out of the entire factory. Again, this game coming in last place is really no shocker. A lot of people online already agreed that Playtime Co. would be the last place they would step into. But let's get into the next group, which is FNAF and Bendy, because usually people didn't address these two as much. Now, before starting the video, I already knew that it would be a competition solely between these two games. So let's jump into their comparisons. Revisiting some of the points that were made earlier, obviously, Bendy already gets a 1-up for having a bigger studio, or building, whatever you want to call it, to cover. Bendy allows you to go further and further, deeper into the world of ink. In this instance, say you did get a job at FNAF at Five Nights at Freddy's, it would be like walking into like your nearest Chuck E. Cheese or something. Like, it's a pizzeria. Compared to working at a factory, factories are usually more isolated in their locations while also having high probability of executing outside security precautions as well, such as like gates and walls and stuff. This would make your escape out of the factory even harder as well. We talked about characters earlier, and it's striking that I would actually still give this component to Five Nights at Freddy's. I would argue that FNAF has scarier enemies to defeat due to the fact, again, consciousness, but also motive. We established that in FNAF, these animatronics aren't just some faulty wiring that was connected wrong. These were actually living children who unfortunately had to meet a devastating end at the hands of William Afton. William took the lives of these children, stuffing them into suits, and figured all those problems would end there. However, the souls of the children still haunt the pizzeria, giving us our first game into the FNAF world. These souls are on a mission, however. They're seeking revenge, just like in Poppy Playtime. Compared to, again, Bendy, who just seems more lifeless. Someone who was just made without purpose. Just this fact alone makes it appear that the animatronics have a good sense of strategy and planning, which would be a lot harder to defeat. To get into the small stats of it all, Bendy is just faster and bigger in size compared to the animatronics. And he can also shapeshift in a way, making himself bigger or smaller. The only animatronic that actually runs is Foxy, and he doesn't come out until later nights. So this gives an impression that you'll have more difficulty with the foes in Bendy, especially because they are made of ink and can just be created whenever and however. Again, you technically have to fight more enemies also in Bendy if you consider the ink searchers that spawn out of the floor, the Butcher Gang, and Sammy Lawrence. I understand that we're dealing with children's souls, yes, but Bendy is technically a demon, deeming him more powerful in general. With these factors considered, I would say that FNAF does take the spot of having the greatest chance of survival. On the other hand, I'm going to talk about my opinion, which no one asked for, but I'm going to say it anyways. Logically, the ranking would go FNAF, Bendy, and Poppy Playtime. However, with my bias, I would actually put FNAF in second place just because, me personally, I've always had an irrational fear of dolls, puppets, and robots coming to life. I don't know why. I've always been terrified of those things. I mean, just like, look at the character models alone. These are nightmare fuel. This picture of Chica makes me feel so uneasy. I can't. Especially being completely alone and isolated, I think my brain would literally give up on itself. If they asked me right here, right now, would you rather fight Bendy or an animatronic?
The gun would go off.
I don't know, y'all. I think I'd have to fight Bendy. I don't know. Call me crazy.
You stupid.
Like, I swear, I'm gonna be battling these little ink goblins like I'm in Smash, bro. And then half the time, you have freaking Sammy over here, dude walking around with a six-pack. Like,
Oh my god!
like, why he kinda... Like, don't act shocked, guys. I know y'all saw that too. And if there's anything that anime has taught me, it's that demons can be your biggest hear me out. I'm just saying, don't hate the messenger. So yeah, if I'm being biased, my rank would probably go Bendy, FNAF, Poppy Playtime. In all seriousness, this was an interesting video to do because I had to put my bias aside. And I think these games have such crazy, fascinating, and thought-provoking lore which helps build their games from the ground up. These horror games have created such a strong love of horror for me, both as a kid and now as an adult. What do you guys think? What would be your list for the greatest chance of survival? And do you have any other interesting or fun facts or points that I might have missed or didn't put in the video? All those answers, put them down in the comment section below. I'd love to read them. And with that being said, we are now at the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. Whoever clicked on this video and stuck around to hear me yap, thank you so much. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.